the policies that are being pursued don't even suffice to service the goals that are hypothetically trumpeted by the formulators of the policies themselves. It's a bloody miracle of stupidity and blindness.
I've given this so much thought because so many people have asked me why would they do this? It doesn't make sense. Explain it. Why would you come after the most hardworking sector, the most lucrative sector, the people that provide you with food? Why would you shut down your nuclear plants if you are to import electricity for I don't know how much more the price? Why? And I think it was Carl Jung actually who said, if you can't understand someone's actions, you have to look at the consequences and infer the motive. And that's what I've done with all of this. If the consequences of their policies are that we become poorer, we, not they, obviously, but we, if we become poorer, we become more dependent on them. We basically essentially would starve if this is put through, and we don't have the financial means anymore to import our food. And, I don't know, God forbid a disaster happens, we've outsourced everything. We could be in real trouble. Well, if those are the consequences, then apparently that's the motive. Maybe I've become too cynical, but I find it very difficult to explain it any other way, because this is not a one-time mistake. These people are the net zero scam, and I would really call it a scam, is something
it's a criminal scam.
Yes,
it's a criminal scam. It's not just a scam.
It is criminal, and I think that it is of the worst type of injustice if a government and the people who are supposed to represent us, talking about democracy, liberal democracy and all, if those people turn their backs on their own population, and not just turn their backs, but actively, again, go against their interest and allow them essentially, if things go wrong, to become poor and to starve. And I can't see, I see true evil behind these acts. I don't just see incompetence anymore.
It's worse than that, Ava. It's worse than that even, because I was speaking with someone the other day, one of my podcast guests, who said that their sampling has indicated that young people now think about climate apocalypse 3 or 4 times a day. Right? They're literally obsessed by it. And we know perfectly well that demoralizing insistence that all human striving is planet-destroying, patriarchal ambition and has to be brought to a halt. Not only does it risk economic catastrophe, really right down to the fundamental level in the way that we've been describing, but it's also demoralized an entire generation of people and made them afraid, terrified, like Chicken Little, that the sky is falling, even when the IPCC itself, who are hypothetically the people that, are on top of the appropriate data, have indicated nowhere in their documentation that we're facing anything approximating a true emergency. And so that does beg the question, as you said, just exactly what the hell's going on. And I think that your method of inferring the motivation is actually the case. I think the proximal cause is the fact that, just as in Nazi Germany, let's say, that any old mid-level bureaucrat could ratchet himself up the hierarchy by identifying, at least in principle, with the overarching Nazi ideology. It's absolutely the case with these bureaucrats who bear no immediate economic consequences for the idiocy of their actions. If they put forward this green agenda and they're celebrated by their idiot peers for doing so, that's definitely good in the immediate present for their career development and their self-aggrandizing moral proclamations of virtuous self. And in the aggregate, we get exactly this sort of thing. Anthony, what consequences do you think that these protests are going to have had? Let's start with that. What consequences have they had? And what do you think is going to unfold? Because this is a relatively new government in Germany, and it isn't obvious to me that it's going to fall apart in consequence as the government in the Netherlands did. Certainly the Canadian government sailed right through the trucker protest as if it never even happened, and the probability that Justin Trudeau is going to rule with his velvet fist for the next year appears to be extremely high. So what do you think is going to happen in Germany as a consequence of these protests?
Well, it's very hard to predict. The government didn't learn its lesson yet. That's obvious. We had our finance minister on stage today, and it was obvious he didn't learn anything about our actions we did. But what we already achieved is that we are, like I said in the beginning, so united. Like I honestly never thought we could be. If I said that, I mean, I would say 80%, and this is an official poll of our mainstream media. 80% says they are behind our actions, behind our. Well, it's not a strike; it's a protest, and that's amazing. That's honestly amazing, especially getting in front of this agenda, what we were talking about. And like I said, people are realizing that now. And they're realizing it for one reason. They believed everything, or most of them believed all this agenda, we have to save CO2 to save our lives and all that nonsense. But now it's costing them money. Everybody's paying for this. And we are paying a big price. And we didn't talk about even, I mean, with the war in Ukraine, obviously, Ukraine produces a hell of a lot of wheat and crop for the poorest in the world. And if you look into where the wheat, if it gets out of the Black Sea region, goes to, it mainly goes to European countries, Turkey and China. It doesn't really go to Africa where it should go, and it comes to us. Poland, Hungary, they said we don't want it. They shut their borders, so it's coming straight through to Germany. And the Danish government only recently checked if it's contaminated with chemicals which are not allowed in the European Union, and they said yes, it is. It's official, but nobody cares. So we are not getting the price we should get for our crop, our grains, and we are getting overflown by grain from the Ukraine, which is
bad,
which is really bad. I mean, obviously it's bad. You know, first of all, poor countries aren't getting it. We can't get rid of ours, and the government's even paying some parts of the transport to Germany. So they are obviously using our tax money to make sure we get a bad price for our crop.
Well, I think we were already talking about how demoralizing this agenda is, and food, of course. If you want to demoralize a people, I mean, it's done by feeding them bad food as well. I mean, Jordan, you know, I don't have to tell you about this, but the importance of good meat, of healthy animal fats. It's huge. And if you make people feel like the only thing that they deserve is, you know, bad
bugs.
wheat or bugs, insects, or synthetic meats, you know, feed literally food that will make you weak. I think that says something about our establishment. You know, it says something about the way that we are governed. It says something about the way that we are ruled.